Hello and welcome to Liberty Nation TV with your host, Jeff Charles. The Biden administration's handling of the situation between Russia and Ukraine has been under scrutiny ever since Russian President Vladimir Putin launched an invasion over 4 weeks ago. There seems to be some confusion over President Biden imposing sanctions and whether it would act as an effective deterrent. I have with me Liberty Nation's Dave Patterson to discuss. Welcome to the program, Dave.
Thank you, Jeff. Always happy to be with you.
Great. So you recently wrote a piece for Liberty Nation in which you discussed how President Biden's threats of sanctions failed to deter Vladimir Putin from invading Ukraine. But it seems that there might be some confusion over whether that was his intention in the first place. Can you kind of give us the rundown on that?
Well, aside from the fact that when President Biden speaks, there is always some level of confusion. But, the White House tried to convince Americans and the world that economic sanctions on Russia would deter President Putin from invading the Ukraine. That was what they said. Everyone in the White House, except for perhaps President Biden, said the same thing. We were applying economic sanctions to deter President Putin, president of Russia, from invading Ukraine, despite the fact that his troops on the border of Ukraine went from 70,000 to 80,000 to 90,000 to 120,000, and also the same number approximately on the border with Belarus. So it was very clear that whatever they were trying to do, quote unquote, with the threats of sanctions was not working. And when the commander of the Supreme Allied Commander Europe, General Walters, was testifying before Congress, Congressman Gallagher from Wisconsin asked him a question, and he admitted that for whatever reason, the strategy of deterrence did not work.
Okay. So what was interesting to me is that later, when President Biden was speaking with reporters and essentially denying that he was trying to deter Putin with these sanctions, he said a phrase, "Sanctions never deter." And, with Biden, I mean, like you said, it's kind of easy to poke fun at him. But David, is he right? I mean, was there ever a chance that sanctions would have had an impact in this case?
Well, I think we don't know, because the sanctions never were applied prior to the invasion of Ukraine. So you don't know if, in any substantive way, you don't know if they would have been effective or not, because think of it this way, the word deter has an implicit meaning that you stop something from happening before it happens, not afterwards. And I think that Volodymyr Zelensky made this point prior to the invasion, but apparently it was lost on the Biden administration.
Yeah, I think a lot of things are lost in the Biden administration. But so, and speaking of that, I mean, this administration, I mean, they have made several mistakes, even in the lead up to this whole fiasco going on right now. Like, they didn't want to push for energy independence, making empty threats. So at this point, regardless of what they've done in the past, what should the White House be doing right now to address this situation? Or is it too late for us to do anything?
Well, I don't think it's entirely too late, because the Russian forces have at least are attempting to regroup, and they have disengaged in several places around the Ukraine. So this would be a good time for the Biden administration to, one, work through providing the Polish MiG-29s so that the Ukrainians have an additional 28 MiG-29s in order to engage Russians. And secondly, it would be a good time for the S-300 anti-aircraft systems to be brought in. They're old, but still effective. And so I think those are the two things that could be done right away, and it would certainly satisfy, I believe, President Zelensky's requests.
Right, right. So here's the thing. I mean, and you've probably heard a billion people say this. I've said it. We've all said it. And a lot of people have speculated that Putin never would have even done this if former President Trump were still in office. And a lot of people believe it. And I think a lot of people on the left don't want to admit that, but they think it's true too. But what do you see as the difference between Trump and Biden that would have made Putin think twice?
Well, I think it goes to credibility. Credibility happens when someone says what they mean what they say, and they act accordingly. And I don't believe that anybody can really fault President Trump for not adhering to that approach. And so consequently, he had credibility, and credibility speaks much more loudly than the feckless approach that we've seen from the Biden administration.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, hopefully Biden will watch this and actually take some insight from it.
You think?
But we'll be keeping an eye on it. But thanks for joining me on the program, Dave.
Thank you, Jeff. Always happy to be with you.
Awesome. And remember, this show is proudly sponsored by LibertyNation.com, where you can access podcasts, breaking news and analysis, a range of biting and brilliant shows to whet your appetite for freedom and your fondness for the great American Constitution. Just go to LibertyNation.com on your browser, or hit Rumble, YouTube, or check out our Liberty Nation News Roku channel. I'm Jeff Charles. Thanks for watching. This program is a production of LibertyNation.com, where truth is making a comeback.
We're doing it for real, really real. Liberty Nation.
And Jeff Charles, contributor for LibertyNation.com.
I think we're starting to make an impact. Liberty style, fight for freedom.
Daily tracking poll sponsored by Liberty Nation for Thursday.
Mentioned by Dan Bongino, Rasmussen, Jordan Peterson, and
I
others.
can do it again if you want me to.
Cited in Mark Levin's American Marxism.
I think we're starting to make a really big impact. Get noticed. We're doing it. Rock on. I'm gone.